Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Breakout B1, Connecting Chefs, Farmers, and Diners for More Sustainable Communities, a conversation and cooking demonstration. It is my great pleasure to thank Woodstone Corporation for their support of the conference as a whole, as well as this session. And with that, I'd like to bring Michael Quinn, Vice President of Global Sales for Woodstone Corporation, to the stage to kick us off. Michael will be joining us in just a moment. And with that, I'll hand it off to Michael.
Thanks, Shara. Appreciate that. So, hi, my name is Michael Quinn. I'm the Vice President of Global Sales at Woodstone, and greetings from Bellingham, Washington. We're really excited to be a sponsor of Worlds of Flavor this year, marking more than a decade of partnership with the Culinary Institute of America. As Shara mentioned, this session's titled Connecting Chef, Farmers, and Diners for More Sustainable Communities. And I have the distinct honor of introducing our guest chef, who's been a friend of Woodstone for many years. Chef Kyle Connaughton is a chef, culinary educator, and cookbook author. He and his wife opened SingleThread Farm, Restaurant, and Inn in Healdsburg, California, back in December of 2016. The restaurant received perfect 4 stars from the San Francisco Chronicle and a James Beard Foundation Restaurant Design Award, both in May or in 2017. In 2018, SingleThread received the Miele One to Watch Award from World's 50 Best Restaurants. In 2019, the restaurant achieved a rare feat, receiving a 3-star rating in the 2019 Michelin Guide within 2 years of opening. Chef Kyle's culinary background includes working for Michel Bras in Hokkaido, Japan, and as head chef of Fat Duck in Bray, England. Kyle worked with the Heston Blumenthal and the Fat Duck team to complete the IACP award-winning The Big Fat Duck Cookbook. He also contributed to Nathan Myhrvold's Modernist Cuisine series. He is a professor emeritus at the Culinary Institute and has developed the curriculum for CIA's Bachelor of Culinary Science program. So with that, I would add that in addition to all of those accolades, he's just a really great person who's been a real pleasure to work with, developing this content and talking through this. The session will be moderated by Jackie Chi from the Culinary Institute. So without further ado, please welcome Chef Kyle Connaughton.
Hey, thank you so much, Michael. Thanks for that really nice introduction. Appreciate that so much. And great to have you all here for Worlds of Flavor. Sorry we can't all be together in person, but I'm really happy to be participating this year. And Jackie, thanks for doing this with me. Really happy to cook for you today and talk about today's topic, which is really connecting chefs and farmers and diners with sustainable food systems, which is something we really endeavor to do here. I'm very, very fortunate to be very connected to my farmer, who is also my wife, and we've been on this kind of few decade journey together of her farming career and my culinary career, working in Japan and working in Europe and coming back to Sonoma County to really open a restaurant and inn dedicated and based around what's happening at her farm, and to tell the story every day about what happens on our farm, but also the farms around us, and that day and that moment here in Sonoma County, to share that with our guests. So not only what we do from a culinary perspective, but from the hospitality to create an environment where guests can really participate in and learn about our agriculture in particular, but in the importance of great food systems and sustainable agriculture. So that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about and share with you today. And while it would be amazing to be at the CIA campus, we're really happy to be here in SingleThread Kitchen cooking with you today. We're actually here right now preparing for tonight's service, which is happening offsite. We're at Kistler Vineyards right now, cooking outdoors in a really beautiful setting in the vineyard. So we're very happy to be doing that. So before we get into the demonstration, which is really less about the dish itself and a little bit more to tell you a little bit about the story of how we work here and how we even develop our dishes and how we cook, just wanted to share you kind of a day in the life for what it is here between our farm and between our kitchen and our service, and give you a little sense from morning to night what it looks like and what we do here, and particularly things through my wife Katina's eyes as our farmer. So please enjoy a little short video. All right, sorry about the choppy video there. I'm not quite sure what happened, but they were just telling me while I was playing that actually that video is up on the conference website. So if you wanted to see a little bit more clean version, you can see that. But hopefully you got a little bit of a sense of what we do. It's really based around our farm. As I said, we've been farming 5 acres right along the Russian River, and we've just recently purchased a new 24-acre farm. So we're in the process of moving to this new farm, which is really allowing us to expand our agricultural footprint and really kind of realize my wife's full vision, which has been to really create a full permaculture center. And what that means is to really promote agricultural diversity and the biodiversity, and to have habitat for pollinators, and really a sort of complete agricultural site, which in wine country, we have people normally think of monocropping as something that has to do with like corn and soy and wheat, but here in wine country, we're predominantly grapes. So it's really important that here in the county, with all of us small farms and small organic farms, so we bring this biodiversity to the area. So our new farm is located in between two vineyards on 24 acres, and that's really sort of habitat for that area in the Dry Creek Valley to have that kind of biodiversity. So we're very excited. We'll be opening that farm to the public to come and visit us this spring. So we're really excited about being able to share not only our cuisine and hospitality that we do in SingleThread, but what we do from an agricultural perspective as well. So I'm going to start kind of a short demo here, just to kind of take you through a dish that really is meant to more kind of demonstrate how we develop our dishes. Oftentimes with chefs, you say, what do I want to cook? And then you think of a dish and you go out and you source those vegetables, or think about what's in season, or you kind of look around you and in the time of the year and the area where you are. And then you kind of select from what you want and you start to develop a dish based on that. Here we have a slightly different method of doing that, which is we actually work with the farm team to think about what they'll be planting months out or a year out. And we have this conversation back and forth between the culinary team and the farm team. And we think about not only what we want to grow, but how much of that we want to grow, how much of that product that we want to grow. And then the farm team goes and starts doing that. And then once those vegetables or whatever it is that we're growing out there, because we're growing vegetables, we have 96 orchard trees, olive trees, chickens, honey, all these various things going on. When various things are ready and they're coming into their peak season, then we begin to think, what is the dish that we're going to do? So rather than having it just be purely the chef's creativity designing and developing the dish, it's really what's coming from the farm, what's going to be at its peak. That's really what's informing the menu. And we make all of our decisions and we make all of our changes to our menu based on that. So this is a dish that kind of demonstrates a little bit of that, and not only the relationship with our own farm, but with some of the other farmers that we work with, and to create a complete ecosystem. And one of the questions I've been asked lately, as we've bought this new farm and going from 5 acres to 24 acres, was, does that mean you're going to be able to grow everything for yourself and not have to buy from any outside farms? And the answer to that is no. Even though that's really going to greatly increase our agricultural footprint in our production, really what we want to do here is continue to be able to support other great farmers as well. So it's not just about us and what we can grow from ourselves, but it's about a whole agricultural community in this area and supporting that. So many other farmers do such an amazing job here growing so many things that they specialize in, that in addition to our own farm and the mechanics of our own farm, we also want to support that larger agricultural community. So this is a little bit about this. So I got Chef Ander here, who's going to sort of help me out and follow me around the kitchen a little bit. So we're going to be doing today a dish that's using Duclair duck. This is a duck breed that we were really interested in working when we first came to Sonoma. We weren't quite finding the breed of duck that we wanted to use, and I knew about this duck called Duclair from some farms in upstate New York. So we went to a local farm here called Oz Family Farms, who specialized in growing heritage breed turkeys and rabbits. And we went to them and said, hey, would you be willing to raise these ducks for us? So we basically reached out to the farm in upstate New York. We got them to send hatchlings, and they trained, like kind of via Zoom calls and everything. They trained our farm here, Oz Family, on how to raise these ducks for us, and even down to their habitat, their feed, the guard dogs that they have. And so we worked with this farm to really help expand their business and really facilitate them to grow and to create more biodiversity with themselves and grow this breed of duck for us. So through the pandemic, we've found ways through our takeaway program, through our offsite events, to continue to support them and make sure that we're continually buying these ducks and growing that program there. So the other ingredients that are kind of key to this dish is pumpkin. This is a Japanese variety, heirloom variety of pumpkin that's called Shishigatani. It comes from Kyoto area, Kansai region of Japan. It's what's known as Kyoyasai, which means Kyoto vegetable. So this is kind of a pumpkin variety that you rarely see outside of the Kyoto area. And we source seeds from former friends there and are growing this pumpkin. Very, very sweet, very dense flesh. So we've roasted this in our woodstone hearth here and sort of glazed that with a barley malt syrup, barley malt and miso. So that's going to be one of our components today, as well as these long Japanese onions called negi. This is a variety called Kujo negi. It's one of the varieties of Kyoto vegetables that we like to grow here. So it's kind of somewhere in between a scallion and a leek. So it's a larger scallion, smaller and more tender leek. It's a big part of more traditional Japanese cooking, and it's something that we really love here. Actually, we love it so much that it's the flower of this onion is our logo, because it's the only thing on the farm that we grow all year round. Everything on our farm is changing so seasonally and constantly, and the only constant that we have is this onion. So we can grow it all year round, and it always features in our cuisine, and that's why we made the flower of the onion our logo. It's to kind of talk about that continuity in our agriculture. And then lastly, the other vegetable from our farm, this is called komatsuna. It's another Japanese green, traditional Japanese green that, again, you see a lot in Kansai in the Kyoto area. It's kind of like almost like a kind of it's not a hybrid, but it's almost like a hybrid of tatsoi and spinach. And we love to use this vegetable as well. And then we work with the farm up in Washington on these special hazelnuts that we have here. It's kind of like an elongated hazelnut called a Duchili hazelnut. And it's a really kind of like special hazelnut that just comes from Washington. So again, a relationship with the farm, trying to support them and continue to help promote these really interesting and unique farms and products that bring a lot of biodiversity to their own areas as well. All right. Come over here. So we're in the woodstone hearth here. We're going to finish roasting the duck. The wood that we use here is almond wood. So not too far south from here, there's quite a few almond farms here in the Central Valley of California. So these are all the downed almond trees. So we work with those almond farms. When they take down their trees, they cut that into wood and then they deliver it up here so that we can give more income to the farms, as well as to utilize their wood. So this is all fairly local almond wood that we use. And we've started roasting the duck already. We actually hang it in the hearth and let it sort of dry, and then we've kind of slowly roasted it in the hearth. And I'm just going to crisp up the skin here at the end. While that's cooking, we have some of the pumpkin pieces that we've roasted in the barley malt syrup, some of the charred negi onions that I was just showing you, as well as a little bit of poached quince as well. While we're finishing crisping up the duck, got the roasted hazelnuts, the Duchili hazelnuts, that we're just going to pick up in a little bit of butter that we've emulsified with a little bit of the duck stock. So from our roasted duck bones, the duck stock. We have a little bit of duck jus from all the roasted bones of the duck. Some of the cured and poached duck hearts. So using all the different parts of the duck in this one dish. happens if you just set that down? Or maybe I guess we come up a little bit closer to the. All right, while we're waiting for it all to heat up, I'm going to start first on the dish. This is a mixture that we made that is a combination of Saikyo miso that's been aged for 1 year. So this has been working with this artisan who goes all the way back to the 1400s in Kyoto. That's called Honda Miso. They're actually the miso makers to the imperial family in Japan. They make a very special miso from Kyoto called Saikyo miso. It's a very kind of sweet, white, and creamy miso. But they take some of that miso and they let it age for 1 year and sort of oxidize and get more of a depth of flavor and umami. So we've mixed basically equal parts of the Saikyo miso with hazelnut butter, kind of like a hazelnut like praline type of thing together to give sort of like a nuttiness to this slightly sweet miso. We're going to put a little bit of that down here. Make a bit of a well in the center. And then we're going to fill this with a reduction of quince juice, quince puree, and a little bit of blueberry vinegar. Which may sound a little bit weird, but it's got a really nice sort of balanced acidity to it. It's not really like a harsh type of vinegar. And then I've got pieces of my hearth roasted pumpkin. A little bit of the quince. This is poached quince, local sort of backyard fruit here. And then we have our hearth charred negi onions. And then this is a crumb mixture that we've made from puffed black rice, puffed like forbidden black rice, and and a little bit of salt and ground hazelnut. Give a little bit of texture to this dish. We have our komatsuna greens. The farm, they have a really nice kind of bite to the stem. Not bitter like a kale or some like the brassica greens. More like I said, like a sort of tatsoi or spinach. So we're just poaching this in a little bit of dashi here, seasoned dashi. Next, we're going to add our poached duck hearts. So one of those on there. Some of these really nice poached chili hazelnuts. Really amazing texture. We have our komatsuna greens. Now we have a little bit of just the shaved roasted hazelnuts, so you can really sort of taste like just the pure flavor of the hazelnut. Declare duck breasts. And then these are some like little fun kind of crispy crackers that we made with some of the peppers from this summer at our farm that we've dried. So we had abundance of peppers, so we dried a lot of those out, kind of turned that into a pepper powder, and kind of created these little crispy crackers in the shape of ginkgo leaves and maple leaves for the fall. And lastly, some of the duck shoes. So we've roasted all the duck bones as well as the duck legs, and reduced that down to jus that we season with a little bit of long peppercorn. There we go. We want to try to come around and sort of get like a overhead shot. Big shot. Thank you. So wanted to do this this dish today because it really, I think, showcases not only our farm but what's coming from our other farms that we work so closely with as well, and sort of on the plate really speaks to creating a whole ecosystem, not just your own, but within other farms. But also it speaks right now to today, this moment in the season. One of the big goals for us for the experience at SingleThread is when guests come, they're not just experiencing like a sense of place for where we are here in Sonoma, but a time within that place as well. So, this dish, you're going to really feel through the ingredients, through the flavors, through the visual, and through everything we do here, the floral that we have there, that you're really in this sort of fleeting moment, that you're in this time. And if you come back a few months from now or another season, you're going to have a completely different experience there. You're still going to experience our 11-course menu, but you're going to experience that in a much different way that speaks to that moment. And that's what keeps us really energized and excited developing as chefs, to be able to utilize all these products and always be anticipating and looking forward to the next thing, and sort of like representing that to the guests so that they feel really that they're having that special moment in time. And like I said, it's really about that, that ecosystem with all the different farms. And, of course, it's not possible for every restaurant to have a whole farm. We're very, fortunate that not only do we live in Sonoma County where we can farm all year round and be able to be harvesting great produce all the time, but just, all of the work that goes into having to farm and the whole, farm team, it's really, not practical. So it's, it really sort of comes down to, for chefs and, restaurants and food companies on whatever scale is what are ways that we can work to support a really great and sustainable food systems. And like I was saying, it's really not about trying to do everything ourselves. I think actually that would be very selfish and really doesn't speak to, food security very well. It's about supporting other farmers and people who are doing great things. And really that's ultimately what it comes down to is we always are voting with our dollars by supporting farms and by supporting good, food systems. Is we want to keep these farmers around doing great things and doing it, not only great products, but doing it the right way and really vetting what it is that they do and their practices and working with them and supporting them, not just by buying their product, but helping to facilitate, their growth and their expansion and their development as, in better sustainable food systems.
This was amazing, Chef. Thank you so much for sharing and for bringing us on a little bit of a tour inside your kitchen. For those of you out there watching, please do feel free to enter any questions that you have for Chef in the chat, or if you're brave enough, if you want to join us on stage with your audio and video so that you can kind of virtually be in the SingleThread kitchen, kind of alongside Chef Kyle. That would be great. We do have a question already from Eric Montel from Stanford. He asks, how has COVID affected the great work you're doing with farmers and the restaurant supply chain? Have there been any silver linings?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Eric. And, that's definitely been difficult for us, just as, with everyone. And when we first shut down in March, and we, initially went to doing the takeaway model, and we're changing our menus every day. Actually, the duck farmer, Oz family, I was telling you, who's used to just being in a routine with us, they drop the ducks off every week. They drop off their invoice to pick up their check, and we had to have a little kind of talk in there where really they were in tears, literally standing, in the walk-in with me, thinking that we were just going to drop them and not order. And we said, no, we're committed. We're going to do things. We're going to develop menus. We're going to do takeaway. We're going to do, our donation meals. We're going to do all these things. Like, we will, we'll be buying the ducks. And that was, for them, and you kind of see how that's affected other farms and other suppliers to say, it's not only the restaurant businesses that's, suffering. I think, everyone famously is looking at that. But it's like, what's behind that? It's the farmers, it's the suppliers, it's everyone in that chain. And so we look for ways, through our programs to make sure that we could not break that chain and continue to support them. We started working with an organization that we've worked with through the fires. It was born from our fires here in 2017, called Sonoma Family Meal. And when the pandemic started and we shut down, we started doing fundraising and working with them. And we produced 1,000 donation meals here a week that go to the community in need, seniors, agricultural workers. There's a number of different sort of systems through the distribution of these meals. So it's another way it's been able to keep our chefs working. It's been able to support our farm and the other farmers and the suppliers, and obviously most importantly to support the community here. And that's now a permanent thing for us. And I think in terms of Eric's questions about silver linings, it's, well, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a silver lining. I think what has happened through this is that, we have had to be resourceful. We've had to, come up with new things. It's really strengthened our efforts here to support our community as well as our agricultural community to protect the food security here in Sonoma County, and to share those methods more, with other chefs and other restaurants all over the place. I think we've just been trying to figure it out. It has led us to what our new farm is, and it seems like a crazy time to be starting something new. But we really did want to expand our agricultural footprint, and we wanted to be able to go further, not only in our own production, but food that we could be producing, ingredients for our donation meals, but for the other people in our network at Sonoma Family Meal who are doing these donation meals as well. Farm to Pantry, who are the gleaners who are collecting products from the farms to go to the food banks. So it's just, I think that's been really it for us. It's been, I don't know if it's a silver lining, but it definitely has been about changing and evolving our perspective as to what our role is. It's not just as a restaurant and a fine dining restaurant, but within the community at large.
I wonder too, Kyle, if you could speak to, you talked about you're going to have much more land to be farming, but it's not all to exclusively supply your restaurant. So where is that sort of additional output going, and how are you using that kind of product?
Yeah, we are, so on our farm this spring, we're opening an actual farm store, a retail store, which will be like a permanent farmer's market where we'll have all of our produce, floral, food products that we make, as well as kind of like a nursery where you can come and buy your tomato starts or whatever. So that's sort of one outlet. Obviously, the restaurant is an outlet. Our donation meal program is an outlet. The network that we've been working with in terms of getting ingredients to the food banks, because we can only produce so many donation meals within our kitchen, and so doing 200 a day, 5 days a week it's a lot of production on top of everything that we do. But so now we can support more people with ingredients for the production that they're doing. and then also to sell into the marketplace. So to give other chefs access to these vegetables that have been, organically and sustainably, raised there as well. So some of that will be selling back into the marketplace.
That's awesome. And I know you spoke a little bit about this earlier, but I wonder if you could expand upon it a little bit more in terms of, scalability. Obviously, everybody sort of sees you as a restaurant, you're married to a farmer. This all kind of makes sense in terms of being able to set up this holistic system for yourself. But you also talked about how everybody can make good choices at whatever scale they're working in, right? And I think in some of our previous conversations, you've also mentioned that it's sort of not just about the finances to be able to do something or to be able to support good farmers, but people can be spending their time setting up systems. I wonder if you can expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, and look, it's such a fair point to say, like, well, that's all well and good for you guys that you have your own, farm and, farmers and farm team and everything, and you live in an area where you can be farming, all year round. And, I never suggest to say this is the solution. The template that we've set up is like a solution, to that. It's really not a very practical solution at all, unless you're under very, special circumstances. And obviously, we're only seeing 50 guests here at night. While it's a very long menu and there's a number of different things that we do, it's very finite and very small scale. The larger conversation and the bigger impact that we can have collectively, depending on on whatever the size of the business, whether it's a restaurant or a food service company or a hotel chain or anything, is ultimately to take the time and to make the investment into supporting good food systems and whatever that means in the area. It's about looking first and foremost locally to support those within your own community, to find ways within the supply chain and through the outlets to find really great sustainable systems that you can support, and to help facilitate the farmers in doing that. And so often it is about commitment. It's about making commitments, because farming, it takes time. You have to set up. If you think about, in the case of our duck farm, they had to create the environment for the ducks. They had to get the hatchlings. They had to get trained. They had to learn the duck systems. There's quite a bit of commitment on their end, and so they need to know that we in the food service business are going to follow through with that commitment. So it's about making commitments. It's about working with them. We're so used to just being able to deal with suppliers where that could be coming. Those products could be coming from anywhere. And there is no real commitment there, but actually making commitment to people within your community or whose products that you believe in, even if they're coming from, from somewhere else, so, a product you really believe in, to facilitate for them to be doing the right thing and to be making that impact. It's our dollars that we vote with as consumers to the food service or food companies, and from the companies and the restaurants to the farmers and to the suppliers. So, we have to have the integrity to do the right thing by our guests and share that with them, what's important with them. And sometimes that is maybe about why something costs a little bit more to do it right. We've been so focused on this race to the bottom and making everything cheap in food. Now we really need to turn our attention to making things right and making things correct. And sometimes that may be that we have to charge a little bit more for that. And that's a very difficult conversation to have. But through time and through supporting good food systems, we can make it more accessible to more people. And that's ultimately what it's all about. It's not about what we have access to in a 3 Michelin star restaurant. That's not going to change the food world. It's really that what we can do at scale. So it starts on a small scale and it progresses into a large scale. And people who have the purchasing power to do things on a larger front, they really have the ability to make changes on a larger scale, to support farmers to do the right thing because they want to do the right thing. There's no farmers that want to do the wrong thing. Farmers are intimately connected with the land and with the ecosystem, and so they know the different choices that they make and what that's going to affect. And we need to obviously hold them accountable to do the right thing, but in doing so, we need to support their efforts. So it's really about taking the time and the bandwidth to actually facilitate and make that happen.
That is amazing and such a great place. I think even though this conversation could go on forever, such an inspirational note for us to end things. So thank you again so much, Chef Kyle.
Thanks, Becky. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Shara.
Thank you. And thanks also to Woodstone for sponsoring the session. I think that Chef Kyle's demo with the duck and the hearth, especially since it's starting to get colder, I'm starting to feel that desire to be right by the hearth and feel some of that residual heat. So thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, we do have one last question. I forgot about this. We do have one last question for Kyle. So Kyle, if you're able to come back, that would be great. But first, here, I'll bring Kyle back to the stage so that we know he's here. Sorry about that. I forgot about that. But first, I wanted to make sure that everybody is coming back to join us for our special evening Worlds of Flavor session, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We've got Spanish wines, flamenco, Gen Z student research on global cuisines, and a CIA student next generation panel discussion. And that's just in the opening reception. Our general sessions have more food market tours plus live presentations from Spain, North Carolina, and Singapore. So you definitely don't want to miss this. Okay, I forgot I was gonna give the last word to you, Kyle, in terms of, and I think you spoke a little bit to this, but your pithy takeaway, the quick takeaway for everybody, if they only remember one thing from all of the inspiration you've shared today, what do you hope that one thing is?
Support your farmers, support your local farmers, help them out. They need your help, they need your support.
Indeed, love it. Awesome. Thank you again so much, Chef Kyle. Thanks to everybody for being in the session, and thank you again to Woodstone for supporting us. We'll see everyone again tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern.